Hello, what's the good word, my friends? So, I don't know if anybody's been to any of the saber stores like the Patch Store, obviously Saber Trio. Um, Even if you go to Saberforge's website and you look around, it's just like this seems like the warehouse is emptying and the storefronts are bereft of sabers, and the situation is looking kind of grim out there, my friends. Um, Current situations in the world have just kind of, I think, created a environment where it's starting to get a little bit difficult to get your hands on your custom sabers. And that being said, there's also the situation with ultra sabers. I've been wanting to get an Emperor's Hand for a while, and I was actually ready to pull the trigger on one of those. But given the current situation, I just decided not to. And then I ended up finding one on eBay, and I messaged the seller, asked them a question, got a sufficient answer, purchased it, and then I've been messaging with this fella ever since. He's really, really cool, and it's that's the thing about this particular community. I really like the camaraderie and the friendships that I've developed with so many people. I mean, there's several people on YouTube that I just consider good friends and reliable confidants, and then you interact with like the guy that I bought my Saberforge Phoenix from. He's a really, really cool dude too. And it's just everyone's really, really nice, and it's just sort of, it's good that we can foster these relationships with people and have something that we can share, and it just creates a camaraderie that just is sorely lacking in the world today. And it helps you get past the vitriol and the acrimony. And so that's nice. So that's one of the reasons why I really, really like this community. But anyway, this video isn't totally about that. It's actually about this saber right here. And this is the Saberforge Tanto. It's an apprentice level saber equipped with a veteran soundboard. I went with the Imperial tsuba, a copper rayskin ramp, a black switch here, and of course, like I said, it has a veteran soundboard which comes with crimson, veridium, and gunmetal. But you also notice that I have a katana back here, and this is my Ryojin, and this is sort of my base cutter that I use for practicing, cutting, mostly water jugs and things of that nature. I can't afford a tatami mats to cut because they're rather expensive. But so the reason why I have these two here is because you can see the similarities between an actual katana and the Tanto. And now that we've got the comparisons in the book, I'll put this off to the background, and I will show you the Tanto, because that's what you're here for. You're here for the Tanto. You're not here for katanas. There are other websites for that. So here's the pommel, and everything about the Tanto is elegant and simple, and I kind of like that. It's a really, really nice touch, and I really wish that Saberforge had opted not to discontinue this saber. I really wish that other people could see reviews like this and get the measure of the saber and really, really decide whether or not they want to acquire something like that. Now, the main reason why I think Saberforge probably decided to discontinue this is they already have several katana style sabers, sabers with tsubas, and they probably just decided, we have one too many, and something had to go. So the Tanto was it, probably based on sales, I would imagine. But the interesting thing, and this is why I have my Ryojin out here, is the length of the hilt is pretty much identical to what I consider to be the ideal hilt length, for what is essentially my favorite katana. So it wields very much like a katana. Feels like one to a degree. I mean, the way this thing is designed isn't really. I mean, if you look at the suka of this thing and the Ito wrap and just everything about it, the Minuki and the, what have you, all the hardware. I mean, this thing is meant to be wielded in battle, whereas, this is a fictional weapon, and it's meant to be cool looking and oohing and eyeing and the whoa and the whole bunch of ee and the whole bunch of the ooh. That's what these things are about. Anyway, so back on track. So as I said, we have a copper rayskin wrap, and you get your copper tech wheel right there. Yeah, okay. And you got a couple screws there. I'm assuming hold this whole thing together in some way, shape, or form. I like this this, I don't know, sort of I don't know what you want to call it. It's just sort of a little, bit in the middle here. It just kind of holds everything together. Little vents, I guess, and the black switch. This is backlit in red, orange, something to that effect. You get your kill key, which is also your recharge port. As with all Saberforge sabers, it comes with the lithium-ion 18650 battery, and I like this midsection. It's a little bit odd. It's a little like just the use of the brushed steel, or the brushed aluminum rather. This wrap section's a little bit funny because it's got this teeny teensy little bit that's hanging up there that I'm gonna have to glue down with some epoxy or something to that effect. But the rest of it, this is not coming off, and I've handled this saber, and that isn't too much of an issue. So can't complain too much about that. This here is the blade retention screw, and it was kind of difficult to find. As you saw my unboxing video, I actually kind of found it right away, but there's this little pinprick hole, and I just kind of stuck the hex key through there, and voila, I was able to loosen it up, get the blade in there, and everything was good to go. So you get this Imperial style tsuba. Now, this is my second tsuba equipped saber. My first is a kyberlite, so that doesn't really count. I have a makaze on the way, and that I ordered with the tsuba, so that should be pretty cool. I'll do a comparison at some point between those two. Really kind of excited to do that. I like how they did this. They kind of anodized the front in this sort of silver, chromy, brushed aluminum sort of. Actually, I think the whole tsuba is actually brushed aluminum, and the rest of it's the anodization. Yeah, that's the good stuff right there. Yeah, it's all anodized in black. The emitter is amazingly simple, and I threw a 32-inch blade in there, and that's perfect for the saber overall. And what I'm going to do next is kind of show you how the lengths compare between the two. So you can see, let's see, over here, okay. The hilt's not quite as long as that of my Ryujin, but from there on out, the saya of my katana and the blade are about the same length. And the tsuba is obviously considerably different. I don't know why I felt the need to show that. So I'm not going to go through all the fonts because you've seen the fonts, and I don't really need to go over all the fonts again. That's the way I feel about it. I have selected Crimson as the font of choice for this saber. Generally speaking, even though the veteran tiers, they come with the 3 fonts, I usually just pick one, and that's the one that sort of defines the personality of that particular saber. For instance, my Eris that I received a couple days ago, that one's pretty much straight up gunmetal. My Bastion, that's pretty much straight up Viridium. So there you go. This one is straight up Crimson. So
Saberforge Crimson.
See if we can give you kind of an idea what the speaker sounds like here. So let's start this thing up. It's not as loud as the Eris, mostly because on the Eris there's a lot more vents and the opening is a lot larger. On this one, it's a very, very small opening, and it doesn't really let the sound boom out of it like it does on the Eris. And there you got your red backlit switch. And of course, this has the yellow LED. I did do a nighttime performance demo, what have you, of this blade. So if you want to see the true nature of the blade colors, please check out that video, because I will not be doing that here. Alright, so let me give you some swings. Mostly clashes. There we go. The swings are very, very soft on this particular saber. It is on loud. I like how you can rapid fire that. See if I can get the clashes to work. I tried to lower the clash sensitivity so that I didn't get the random clashes with the swings, but that's just kind of how this soundboard works, so one has to accept what one cannot control. And just the ignition one more time. Yeah. So let's get the kill key back in here. Just the standard kill key that comes with the veteran tier sabers. Yeah. So let's give you a full tour of this wonderful saber. I would suggest if you can get one used, or just if you come across one, I do recommend this saber. Now, it doesn't have choke points per se, and the positioning of the switch is a little bit weird, how it's in the middle of the handle. The fact that the wrap doesn't go the full length of the hilt is a little bit odd, but because of the aesthetic nature of this midsection, I forgive that. That's not too bad at all. But when you're holding the saber, you're kind of holding it up here, and your left hand would be down at this end. So it kind of makes a bit of sense. Now, traditionally, when a katana's being held, you're not centering your hand all the way up against the tsuba. It's sort of resting about a finger's, it's supposed to be about a finger's width from the tsuba. That way, if you take contact with the tsuba, it doesn't, the shock won't rattle your hand and make you lose grip, because that could lead to death, at least from a combat standpoint. But in order to basically, if you're, obviously it's a little bit more difficult with one hand, but if you're securing the end of the saber with your left hand, it's easier to turn this off and on. But it's kind of weird that you have to move your hand a whole hand length down just to turn it off and on. One would figure out like a way to maybe put the switch up here if they had any kind of common sense, but this saber doesn't do that. Regardless, it's okay. I mean, it is what it is. It's meant to look good, and it's a very well balanced saber. Let me see.
Saberforge. Quiz.
I did swing this around for you previously in that other video, but why the hell not? So the balance with this 32-inch blade is probably about there, which is kind of ideal. It's a comfortable saber. There's no sharp bits. There's nothing to hang up on. I imagine that this will probably be a pretty interesting saber without the wrap as well. But I wanted to go for the wrap, because with or without the wrap, the saber's the same price, so you might as well get your money's worth. And I wanted something unique, which is why I went with this copper rayskin. It's kind of like a shiny brown with a rayskin pattern. again. Or not again. I didn't even say that before. If you look at the hilt of a katana, you can see, rayskin. Albeit faux rayskin. No, actually, this is real rayskin. That's right. This one has real rayskin. So what they do is the handle is made out of wood and it's wrapped with rayskin, and then they wrap the cord around it and create that pattern. So the Tanto kind of emulates at least the use of rayskin, but that's about where the similarities end. Yeah. And there you have it. This is the Saberforge apprentice tier, apprentice level, apprentice, whatever you want to call it. Tanto, currently discontinued by our good friends at Saberforge. So, sayonara, Tanto. We hardly knew you. Although, I think I have one subscriber out there that I spoke to. I'm sorry, I can't remember your name, but I think you have one coming too. So, I think we'd all like to see a review of that and the accoutrements that you have on yours. Anyway, so that's the end of the review, and I hope that everyone enjoyed it. So if you're so inclined as to subscribe, you can do it if you want. You know, if it's something that you feel the need to do, go ahead and do it. If you want to comment, please feel free to comment. I always try to answer everyone's comments to the best of my abilities. I'm not the most knowledgeable Joe on the planet, but I try my best, and my heart's in the right place. So if you want to also like or dislike, your preference, it's completely up to you. You have all the freedom in the world, literally all the freedom in the world, or at least all the freedom of the interwebs, the internet, the great experiment. Yeah, anyway, so that's the end of this video, and I hope everyone has a wonderful night, and I will see you on the next video. Alrighty then, you take care now. Bye-bye.